However, I soon discovered that as my mother adjusted to being down, that I could go to her and say, how do you do this? And she could tell me. And that's when things began to improve, because she helped me a great deal in learning how to do things.
Yeah, what was life like then at that time then for you? It seems to me to be very difficult.
Oh, it was terribly difficult, because she had kept us spick and span, our clothes starched and ironed. I didn't know how to iron, neither did my sister nor anyone else. So even in the summer, I wanted to wear my coat because my clothes looked so terrible. I tried to iron them, but I had no skill whatsoever. And the only one that didn't seem to suffer was Reeves. He was a boy, and nobody expected him to be all tidy, and there wasn't such a huge change in his clothes. But the rest of us looked pretty awful, and it was very difficult for us. Milda, on the other hand, was kind of a spitfire, and if anybody made any remarks, she had a good smart one to send right back to them. That's how she reacted. But the rest of us really felt it.
So the ages of the children were Elma was 12?
Yes. And it had a terrible effect on her, too, because as people realized that that my mother was ill, they'd say to Elma, oh, aren't they lucky to have a nice big girl like you? You can just take right over for your mother. She was petrified. She got so she wouldn't answer the door, she wouldn't answer the phone. If anybody came around, she would go hide. It literally had that effect on her. Now, they all knew that Evie was our baby. She was nearly 2 because Mama had had the other little child. But she was the baby, and so the town kind of adopted her. The ward did, as their baby. So every place she went, everybody made a big fuss over her and gave her a lot of love and attention, and she returned it, and it had a real effect on her personality because she received so much attention.
What about Aldith?
And Aldith, at the same time, who was just 2 years older than Evie, spent lots of days when she didn't even get her hair combed because nobody had time to do it. And she just accepted the neglect as her due, and just tried not to get in the way. And to this day, she patiently takes whatever's dished out to her. It had a kind of an effect on us that lasted our whole life, that particular time.
So how would you characterize the personalities of your brothers and sisters based upon this?
Well, Elma became kind of introverted, and it took a long time for her to come out of her shell. Milda continued with her spitfire ways. You knock the chip off my shoulder and you'll hear it. And it remained a long time that way for her. Aldith just remained quietly patient. It didn't change Reeves very much because nobody changed their ways toward him, and it just didn't make that much difference to him. And actually, the only thing it did for me was try to make me not to be noticed. I became very uncomfortable because I knew my clothes didn't look right, and the nicest thing that could happen to me was if nobody saw me. But eventually I did learn how to iron and a few other things. We had a lot of hilarious things happen while we were trying to learn to do things.
Well, what kinds of hilarious things?
Oh, like when the clothes didn't come out as clean as Mother was able to get them. I remembered that sometimes she said the sun would bleach them. So this one day we got tired of scrubbing, and we really hadn't done a very thorough job. And we went out, filled the clothesline for the sun to do it. Clothesline wouldn't hold it, so we used the fence and the bushes. It must have been a terrible sight. And I know my dad came home and he said, "What's going on?" And we told him, "We're bleaching the clothes." And he laughed, and he went in and told Mother, "Did you know that they're bleaching the clothes?" And so she managed to get over by the window and see, and she had a good laugh, but she told us, "It won't do it. You have to get the dirt out first." And so we had to get her all in and try again.
Of course, now you talk about doing